The spaceship descended silently through the thick blanket of clouds, its sleek metallic surface shimmering faintly under the dim light of the moon. The craft was small but advanced, designed for stealth and precision. It landed softly in a secluded, forest clearing, far from any human eyes or ears. The ground beneath it crunched slightly as the landing gear touched down, disturbing fallen leaves and twigs that had lain undisturbed for weeks. The air smelled damp and earthy, filled with the scent of moss and decaying wood. For a moment, everything was still. Inside the ship, 4 alien students sat quietly, their large, luminous eyes scanning the displays before them. They were young by their species' standards, eager to prove themselves during this final field study project. Ethan Rivers leaned forward in his seat, tapping at the glowing interface on his wrist device. His fingers moved quickly, adjusting settings and inputting coordinates. Beside him, Olivia Grayson double-checked her notes, her expression calm but focused. Ryan Caldwell stretched lazily, yawning loudly despite the gravity of their mission. Mia Bennett, seated near the back, stared out the window, her gaze fixed on the dark shapes of trees swaying gently in the breeze. "This is it," Ethan said finally, breaking the silence. His voice was steady but carried an undertone of excitement. "Earth, the Deathworld." Olivia nodded, flipping through holographic pages on her tablet. "We need to be careful. Galactic records say this planet is full of unpredictable dangers. We can't afford to make mistakes." Ryan smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Unpredictable dangers? Sounds like fun. I haven't had a good challenge in ages." He grinned widely, showing off sharp teeth that glinted in the soft light. Mia didn't reply. She continued staring outside, her mind racing. She had read about Earth's reputation long before they left Lumina Prime. Stories of ferocious predators, deadly diseases, and catastrophic weather events had circulated among the students for years. But there was something else, something she couldn't quite put into words, that made her uneasy. Maybe it was the way the planet looked so quiet now, almost peaceful, even though she knew better than to trust appearances. The hatch of the ship opened with a soft hiss, revealing the cool night air. One by one, the students stepped out onto the forest floor, their boots sinking slightly into the soft earth. The darkness was overwhelming at first, broken only by the faint glow of their suits' built-in lights. Tall trees loomed above them, their branches intertwining like skeletal hands reaching for the sky. Somewhere in the distance, an owl hooted, its call echoing eerily through the woods. Ethan activated his scanner, holding it up to scan the surroundings. Numbers and symbols flickered across the screen as the device analyzed the environment. Temperature stable, oxygen levels sufficient, no immediate threats detected, he announced after a moment. "That doesn't mean anything," Olivia muttered, keeping her voice low. "Just because we don't see danger doesn't mean it isn't here," Ryan chuckled, brushing past her to get a closer look at a nearby tree. Its bark was rough and gnarled, covered in patches of green moss. "Relax, Olivia. If something tries to eat us, we'll just zap it with our stun guns." "Easy peasy." Mia frowned, but said nothing. She knelt down to examine the ground, running her gloved fingers over the damp leaves. Something about the texture felt strange, almost sticky. She glanced around, noticing how the shadows seemed to shift ever so slightly, as if hiding secrets within the darkness. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind them. Everyone froze, turning toward the noise. A pair of glowing eyes appeared between the trees, followed by another pair, and then another. Slowly, several creatures emerged from the shadows, stepping cautiously into the light. They were wolves, their fur matted and wild, their teeth bared in silent warning. Are those supposed to be friendly?" Ryan asked, taking a step backward. "No, they're not," Ethan replied sharply, already reaching for his weapon. "Stay calm. Don't provoke them." The wolves circled the group, their movements fluid and deliberate. Their growls were low but menacing, sending shivers down Mia's spine. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, each beat louder than the last. Despite her training, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, not just by the wolves but by something else entirely. Oliva pulled out her own weapon, aiming it steadily at the nearest wolf. "If they attack, we'll have no choice but to defend ourselves," she said firmly. But before anyone could act, Mia raised a hand. "Wait," she whispered. Her voice was barely audible, but it carried enough authority to stop the others. "Let me try something." She reached for a small device attached to her belt, a sonic emitter designed to create high-frequency sounds imperceptible to most species. Activating it, she pointed it toward the wolves. At first, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the animals stopped growling, their ears twitching as they picked up the sound. After a few tense seconds, they turned and disappeared back into the forest, vanishing as quickly as they had come. Everyone exhaled deeply, relief washing over them. Ryan gave Mia a thumbs up. "Nice work, Mia. Guess brains beat brawn this time." "Don't get too cocky," Olivia warned, lowering her weapon. "That was just the beginning. There's no telling what else is out there." Ethan nodded in agreement. "We should keep moving. Staying in one place for too long increases the risk of attracting more attention." They gathered their equipment and began walking deeper into the forest, guided by Ethan's scanner. The terrain grew rougher as they went, forcing them to climb over fallen logs and navigate around dense clusters of bushes. Every step seemed to bring new challenges. The ground was uneven, the air thick with humidity, and the constant chirping of insects grated on their nerves. Hours passed, and the sun began to rise, casting golden rays through the canopy above. The forest transformed in the daylight, its colors vibrant and alive. Birds sang in the trees and small animals darted across their path. It was hard to believe that such beauty could coexist with the danger they had encountered earlier. As they reached a clearing, Ethan stopped abruptly, pointing ahead. Through the trees they could see rooftops peeking out in the distance. "A human settlement," he said quietly. "This might be our best chance to learn more about why Earth is considered so dangerous." Olivia adjusted her visor, zooming in on the buildings. "It looks abandoned. Still, we should proceed with caution. Humans may not take kindly to unexpected visitors." Ryan grinned mischievously. "Or maybe they'll welcome us with open arms. You never know until you try." Mia rolled her eyes but couldn't help smiling slightly. For all his bravado, Ryan's optimism was contagious. As they approached the settlement, she found herself wondering what kind of people lived on this mysterious planet, and whether they held the answers the team was searching for. The journey had only just begun, but already, Earth was proving to be exactly what the galactic records claimed: unpredictable, unforgiving, and utterly fascinating. The alien students moved cautiously toward the settlement, their footsteps soft against the uneven ground. The buildings ahead were old and worn, their wooden walls faded by years of sun and rain. Some windows were broken, and vines crept up the sides like green fingers clutching at the structures. It was clear that no one had lived there for a long time, but the place still felt alive somehow, as if it carried echoes of the past. Ethan stopped at the edge of the clearing, scanning the area with his handheld device. "No signs of recent activity," he said, lowering the gadget. "But we should stay alert. Humans might not be here now, but they could return." Olivia nodded, her eyes darting around as she took in every detail. She noticed old tools scattered near what looked like a barn rusted from years of neglect. A weathered tractor sat tilted to one side, its tires deflated and crumbling. Everything about the scene spoke of abandonment, yet something about it made her uneasy. "This feels wrong," she murmured. "Why would people leave all this behind?" Ryan shrugged, kicking at a loose stone. "Maybe they got tired of living so close to wolves and bears. I wouldn't blame them." He grinned, trying to lighten the mood, but even he seemed more subdued than usual. Mia didn't respond. Her attention was drawn to a small wooden sign hanging crookedly on a post near the entrance. She stepped closer, brushing away dirt and moss to reveal faded letters carved into the wood. "Welcome to Maple Ridge," she read aloud, her voice quiet. "What do you think happened here?" Before anyone could answer, a sudden noise startled them, a sharp crackling sound coming from deeper within the settlement. They froze, exchanging wary, Glances. Ethan gestured for silence, raising his weapon slightly. Slowly they moved forward, keeping low and sticking close together. As they rounded the corner of a building, they saw the source of the noise. A young human boy, no older than 15, crouched beside an old generator. He was poking at it with a stick, sparks flying as he tried to coax it back to life. His clothes were patched and dirty, and his hair stuck out in messy tufts, but his face lit up with determination as he worked. The boy froze when he noticed the alien standing there, his mouth dropping open in shock. For a moment, no one moved. Then Ryan waved awkwardly, giving him a sheepish grin. Hi? The boy scrambled to his feet, backing away slowly. Who are you? He demanded, gripping the stick tightly like a weapon. His voice trembled, but there was a spark of curiosity beneath the fear. Ethan stepped forward, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. We're not here to hurt you, he said, activating the translation software embedded in his suit. The words came out in halting but understandable English. We're visitors. We want to learn about your world. The boy blinked, staring at them wide-eyed. Visitors? From where? From far away, Olivia explained gently, joining Ethan. We've heard stories about Earth, about how dangerous it is. We came to see for ourselves. The boy hesitated, lowering the stick slightly. You're aliens, aren't you? He asked bluntly. Ryan laughed nervously. Well, yeah, but don't worry, we're the good kind. The boy's lips twitched into a faint smile despite himself. After a moment, he lowered the stick completely. I'm Alex, he said finally. Alex Carter. What are your names? They introduced themselves one by one, and Alex listened intently, nodding as if committing their names to memory. When Mia spoke, her tone soft and hesitant, Alex gave her a curious look. You seem different, he said. Like you're thinking really hard about something. Mia glanced at him, surprised. I guess I am, she admitted. Earth is complicated. I thought it would be easier to understand, but it's not. Alex chuckled, shaking his head. Yeah, welcome to the club. This planet's full of surprises, most of them bad. Over the next hour, Alex led them through the settlement, explaining what little he knew about the abandoned town. He told them that Maple Ridge had once been home to farmers and their families. But things changed when a nearby river flooded, destroying crops and forcing people to leave. Since then, the place had been mostly forgotten, except by kids like him who sometimes came to explore. You live around here? Olivia asked, watching him closely. Alex shook his head. Nah, I live a few miles away with my mom. She doesn't know I come here. I'd get in trouble if she found out, but it's cool, you know? Like stepping into another world. Ethan frowned. Is it safe for you to be here alone? With all the animals and stuff? Alex shrugged. Not really, but I'm careful. Besides, it's not just animals you gotta watch out for. There are snakes, spiders, diseases. Oh, and hurricanes, those suck. He paused, looking thoughtful. But humans have ways of dealing with it all. That's why we survive, I guess. Mia tilted her head, intrigued. How do you deal with it? With everything being so deadly? Alex grinned, proud to share his knowledge. Well, first off, we adapt. People build shelters to keep out storms, use medicine to fight sickness, and learn which plants and animals are safe. And then there's technology, like this generator I'm trying to fix. If I can get it running, I can power some lights and maybe even charge my phone. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Your phone? Out here? What's the point? It's not just a phone, Alex replied, rolling his eyes. It's a lifeline. GPS, emergency calls, apps that tell me the weather. It keeps me connected, even in the middle of nowhere. Olivia nodded, impressed. Humans are resourceful, I'll give you that. As the afternoon wore on, Alex continued sharing stories about Earth's dangers and its wonders. He told them about venomous snakes hiding in tall grass, about tornadoes that could tear apart entire towns, and about microscopic organisms that cause diseases humans couldn't see coming. But he also talked about humanity's resilience, how people work together to rebuild after disasters, how scientists invented vaccines to combat illnesses, and how adventurers braved the harshest environments just to push boundaries. Ethan listened intently, jotting notes on his tablet. "It's fascinating," he said. "Everything about Earth seems balanced between beauty and danger. Is that why it's called a death world?" Alex shrugged again. "Probably. But honestly, I think it's more than that. Earth isn't just dangerous, it's unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen next. One day you're fine. The next you're running from a wildfire or dodging lightning strikes. It keeps you on your toes." Mia nodded slowly, her thoughts swirling. She had suspected there was more to Earth's reputation than met the eye, and Alex's words only deepened her curiosity. Was unpredictability the true reason behind the planet's deadly nature? Or was there something else lurking beneath the surface? As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Alex glanced at the horizon. "I should probably head back soon," he said reluctantly. "My mom will start worrying if I'm not home by dark." The aliens exchanged glances, unsure how to say goodbye. Finally, Ethan extended a hand. "Thank you, Alex. You've helped us more than you realize." Alex shook Ethan's hand firmly, then turned to the others. "You guys take care, okay? And if you ever need help again, I'll be around." Ryan grinned, giving him a playful salute. "Will do, kid. Stay safe out there." After Alex disappeared into the trees, the group stood quietly for a moment, reflecting on what they had learned. The settlement felt quieter now, almost lonely without the boy's presence. "He's brave," Olivia said softly. "To live on a planet like this, it takes courage." Ethan nodded. "And resourcefulness. Humans are survivors, no doubt about it." Mia stared off into the distance, her mind racing. There was still so much they didn't know about Earth, so many questions left unanswered. But one thing was certain. Their mission was far from over. Somewhere in this vast, chaotic world lay the truth behind Earth's deadly reputation, and they were determined to find it. Part 3. The alien students left the abandoned settlement behind, their minds buzzing with everything Alex had told them. As they walked deeper into the wilderness, the landscape began to change. The dense forest gave way to rocky hills, and soon they found themselves climbing a steep path that led to higher ground. The air grew cooler, carrying the faint scent of sulfur. Ethan stopped occasionally to check his scanner, ensuring they were heading in the right direction. "According to the readings, there's volcanic activity nearby," Ethan said, pointing toward the horizon. "If we're lucky, we might find geological formations that could hold clues about Earth's history." Olivia adjusted her backpack, glancing at the jagged peaks ahead. "Volcanoes? Great, just what we need. More danger." Ryan chuckled, nudging her playfully. "Come on, Olivia. Where's your sense of adventure? Volcanoes are awesome." Mia didn't say anything. Her eyes were fixed on the distant mountains, their snow-capped summits glowing softly in the fading sunlight. She felt uneasy again, though she couldn't explain why. Something about this place tugged at her instincts, as if the land itself was trying to warn them. As they climbed higher, the terrain became rougher. Loose rocks shifted underfoot, making every step precarious. At one point, Ryan slipped and nearly fell, but Ethan grabbed his arm just in time. "Careful," Ethan warned. "We don't want any unnecessary injuries." Finally, they reached a plateau overlooking a vast valley. In the center of the valley stood a massive volcano, its peak shrouded in thick clouds of smoke. Rivers of molten lava snaked down its sides, glowing red against the darkening sky. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying, a reminder of Earth's raw power. "This is incredible," Ethan murmured, snapping photos with his device. "Look at the mineral deposits around the base. They could tell us so much about how this planet evolved." Mia nodded absently, her attention drawn to a series of caves carved into the cliffs below. "What about those?" she asked, pointing. "Could they have been formed by ancient eruptions?" "Maybe," Ethan replied, studying the area through his scanner. "Only one way to find out." The group descended carefully toward the caves, their lights cutting through the growing darkness. Inside, the air was warm and humid, filled with the smell of damp stone. The walls glistened with moisture, reflecting their beams of light. Strange patterns covered the surfaces, swirling designs that looked almost like writing. "Are those symbols?" Olivia asked, running her fingers over the carvings. "They don't look natural." Ethan activated his universal translator, holding it up to scan the markings. Lines of text appeared on the screen as the device worked to decipher the code. After several tense minutes, the translation began to take shape. "It's telling a story," Ethan said slowly, his voice tinged with awe. "A very old story." "What does it say?" Ryan asked, leaning closer. Ethan read aloud, piecing together the fragments. "Long ago, invaders came from the stars. They sought to reshape this world for their own purposes, but the life forms of Earth resisted, evolving rapidly to defend their home. The invaders fled, leaving behind scars that changed the planet forever." Mia's breath caught in her throat. "That explains so much," she whispered. "The aggression, the adaptability. It wasn't random. It was a response to an attack." Olivia frowned, processing the implications. "So Earth's dangers aren't just accidents of nature. They're the result of deliberate evolutionary warfare." Ryan whistled softly, shaking his head. "Whoa, that's intense. So basically we're walking around on a battlefield?" "In a way, yes," Ethan replied. "But it's also a testament to survival. Life on Earth fought back and won." Mia stepped back, staring at the carvings with newfound respect. "This changes everything," she said quietly. "Earth isn't just dangerous because of its environment. It's dangerous because it learned to be dangerous. Every creature, every plant, every microbe, it's all part of a system designed to protect itself." The others fell silent, absorbing her words. For the first time, they truly understood why Earth was called a Deathworld. It wasn't just a label. It was a warning, a reminder that this planet had faced extinction once before, and would do whatever it took to prevent it from happening again. As they made their way out of the cave, the sun had fully set, blanketing the valley in darkness. The volcano loomed above them, its fiery glow casting long shadows across the ground. Somewhere in the distance, a rumble echoed through the air, followed by the sound of falling rocks. "We should move," Olivia urged, glancing nervously at the mountain. "Volcanic activity can be unpredictable." They hurried back toward safer ground, their thoughts heavy with what they had discovered. By the time they reached camp, exhaustion weighed on them like a physical force. They collapsed onto the ground, too tired to speak. Hours later, Mia sat alone near the edge of the clearing, staring up at the stars. The night sky was clear, revealing countless pinpricks of light scattered across the heavens. She wondered how many of those lights represented worlds untouched by conflict, or if most planets like Earth carried scars from battles fought long ago. Ethan joined her after a while, sitting quietly beside her. "You okay?" he asked, his voice soft. Mia nodded, though she wasn't entirely sure. "I keep thinking about what we learned," she admitted, "about how Earth became what it is today. It makes me wonder, could something like that happen to our world someday?" Ethan sighed, following her gaze toward the stars. "Maybe. Or maybe not. Our civilization is different. We've learned from the mistakes of others, or at least we try to." "But what if we don't learn fast enough?" Mia pressed. "What if we underestimate the risks like those invaders did?" Ethan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he picked up a small rock and turned it over in his hands. "I think that's why we're here," he said finally. "To understand, to learn, and hopefully to share what we've learned when we go back." Mia smiled faintly, feeling a flicker of hope. "Yeah, maybe you're right." The next morning, the group packed up their camp and prepared to leave the valley behind. As they climbed back toward the forest, Mia glanced one last time at the volcano. Its fiery glow seemed less menacing now, more like a symbol of resilience. Earth had endured unimaginable challenges, and yet it still thrived. Their journey continued, taking them through deserts where sandstorms raged and mountains where icy winds bit at their skin. Along the way, they encountered more evidence of Earth's determination to survive: plants that stored water for years, animals that blended seamlessly into their surroundings, and ecosystems that adapted to even the harshest conditions. Each discovery added depth to their understanding of the planet. By the time they reached the coast, they had pieced together a clearer picture of Earth's character. It was a world forged by struggle, shaped by adversity, and defined by its refusal to give up. Standing on the beach, watching waves crash against the shore, Ryan let out a low whistle. "This place is insane," he said, shaking his head. "Beautiful, deadly, and completely nuts. I kind of love it." Olivia rolled her eyes, though she couldn't suppress a smile. "Don't get too attached. We still have a report to write when we get back." Ethan nodded, pulling out his tablet. "And it's going to be one heck of a report." Mia gazed out at the ocean, her mind racing with possibilities. They had uncovered secrets buried deep within Earth's past, but she knew their work wasn't done. There was still so much to explore, so much to understand, and somewhere, amidst all the chaos and beauty, lay the truth about humanity's role in this extraordinary story. For now, though, they had gathered enough to complete their mission. With heavy hearts but renewed purpose, the alien students turned, their faces toward the stars, ready to bring Earth's lessons back to their own world. The alien students stood on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, their final stop before leaving Earth. The waves crashed violently against jagged rocks below, sending sprays of salty mist into the air. The wind carried the sound of seagulls and the distant rumble of thunder from an approaching storm. It was a fitting farewell to a planet that had shown them both its beauty and its fury. Ethan pulled out his scanner one last time, ensuring they hadn't missed anything important in their research. The device hummed softly as it analyzed the environment around them. "Everything checks out," he said after a moment. "We've covered all the key areas: forest, settlement, volcano, desert, mountains, and now the coast. We're ready to go." Olivia nodded, adjusting her pack for the journey back to their ship. She glanced at Mia, who was staring silently at the horizon. "You okay?" Olivia asked gently. Mia blinked, as if snapping out of a trance. "Yeah," she replied, though her voice sounded distant. I feel like there's more to learn, like we've only scratched the surface." Ryan chuckled, slinging an arm around her shoulders. "That's Earth for you, always keeping secrets. But hey, we've got enough material to blow everyone's minds back at Lumina Prime." Ethan smiled faintly. "He's right. This mission has already taught us so much about why Earth is called a Deathworld. We'll have plenty to share when we get home." As they began their trek back toward the forest where their ship was hidden, thoughts of Alex Carter lingered in their minds. They had decided earlier to stop by his house one last time to say goodbye properly. Though Alex had helped them only briefly, his insights had been invaluable, and they felt a strange sense of connection to him. When they reached the outskirts of the small town where Alex lived, they moved cautiously, cloaking themselves with their advanced technology to avoid drawing attention. They found his house easily. It was modest but well kept, with flower beds lining the front yard and a bicycle leaning against the porch railing. Ethan knocked lightly on the door, deactivating his cloaking device so Alex could see him clearly. Woman answered the door, her expression wary until she saw Alex appear behind her. His eyes widened in surprise when he recognized the alien standing on his doorstep. "You came back," he exclaimed, pushing past his mother to greet them. "Alex, wait," his mother called, but Alex ignored her, stepping outside to join the group. His mother hesitated, watching curiously from the doorway as Ethan explained their visit. "We wanted to thank you again," Ethan said sincerely. "Your knowledge helped us understand Earth better than we ever could on our own." Alex grinned, looking proud despite his initial shock. "No problem. I'm glad I could help. So, what did you find out?" Olivia stepped forward, speaking carefully. Earth's reputation as a death world isn't just because of its natural dangers. There's a deeper reason, something that happened millions of years ago. Your planet fought off invaders who tried to change it, and that fight left lasting changes in its biology. Alex's brow furrowed. Invaders? You mean aliens? Ryan nodded. Exactly. And Earth adapted to protect itself. Every predator, every disease, even the weather, it's all part of a system designed to keep threats away. Alex stared at them amazed. Wow, that's wild. Does that mean humans are part of it too? Mia finally spoke up, her tone thoughtful. In a way, yes. Humans are survivors, just like everything else on this planet. You've learned to live alongside these dangers, finding ways to adapt and thrive. That's what makes Earth so unique. Alex's face lit up with excitement. Man, I wish I could tell someone about this. Imagine writing a paper for school about how Earth evolved to defend itself. Ethan laughed softly. Maybe someday you can. For now, though, this has to stay between us. Alex nodded solemnly. Got it, my lips are sealed. He paused, glancing at each of them in turn. Will I ever see you guys again? Mia smiled warmly. Probably not. But don't forget what you've learned. Keep exploring, keep asking questions. Who knows, maybe one day humans will travel among the stars too. They exchanged a final round of goodbyes, Alex waving enthusiastically as the aliens disappeared into the trees. His mother watched silently from the doorway, shaking her head in disbelief. What an imagination that boy has, she muttered under her breath. Back at the clearing where their ship waited, the team took one last look at the forest surrounding them. The place felt different now, not just a dangerous wilderness, but a living, breathing entity full of stories waiting to be told. Ryan kicked at a pile of leaves, grinning. Kinda gonna miss this place, you know, it's got character. Olivia rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her smile. Don't get sentimental on us, Ryan. We've still got work to do. Ethan climbed aboard first, followed by Olivia and Ryan. Mia lingered for a moment longer, gazing up at the sky. Clouds were gathering overhead, signaling the arrival of the storm. Lightning flashed in the distance, illuminating the darkening forest. She felt a pang of sadness but also a sense of fulfillment. They had accomplished their mission, uncovering truths that would reshape how their civilization viewed Earth. As the hatch closed and the engines roared to life, Mia took her seat beside the others. The ship lifted smoothly into the air, leaving the planet behind. Through the window they watched as Earth grew smaller and smaller, its continents and oceans blending into a single blue-green sphere suspended in the vastness of space. Once, they were safely en route to Lumina Prime. The team gathered in the main cabin to discuss their findings. Ethan projected images and data onto a holographic screen, summarizing everything they had learned. He described the carvings in the cave, the volcanic activity, the wildlife, and the resilience of humanity. Each piece of information painted a clearer picture of Earth's complex nature. It's not just a death world, Ethan concluded. It's a survivor's world. Everything about it, the ecosystems, the climate, even the people, is built around survival. That's what makes it so remarkable, Olivia added, and terrifying. Humans may have adapted, but imagine trying to colonize this planet without knowing its history. You'd be walking into a trap. Ryan leaned back in his chair, folding his arms behind his head. Still, I gotta give credit where it's due. Humanity might not have fancy tech or spaceships yet, but they've got guts. Living here takes serious courage. Mia nodded slowly, her gaze fixed on the hologram of Earth floating before them. It's not just courage, she said quietly. It's hope. No matter how dangerous things get, humans keep going. They build, they dream, they fight for a better future. That's something worth remembering. The others fell silent, reflecting on her words. For all its perils, Earth was a testament to the strength of life itself. A reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, survival was possible. And perhaps, in some small way, humanity's story offered lessons that their own civilization could learn from. When they arrived back at Lumina Prime, their report was met with astonishment. Professors and classmates alike listened intently as the team presented their findings, their voices filled with passion and respect for the planet they had studied. By the end of their presentation, there was no doubt in anyone's mind. Earth truly deserved its reputation as a death world, but it was also so much more than that. Later, as Mia walked through the halls of the academy, she thought about the journey they had taken. She thought about the wolves in the forest, the abandoned settlement, the fiery glow of the volcano, and the endless waves crashing against the shore. Most of all, she thought about Alex and the spark of curiosity in his eyes. Earth had changed her in ways she couldn't fully explain. It had reminded her of the fragility of life and the incredible power of determination. As she looked out a window at the stars twinkling in the night sky, she knew one thing for certain. Earth's story wasn't over. Someday, humanity might reach those stars, carrying with them the same resilience that had allowed them to survive on their perilous home. And when that day came, Mia hoped she would be there to witness it. HFY. The alien students returned to Lumina Prime with a sense of accomplishment, but also with lingering questions about Earth. Their presentation had been met with applause and admiration, yet the weight of their discoveries stayed with them long after the lecture hall emptied. For Mia especially, the experience felt unfinished, as though they had only scratched the surface of what Earth truly represented. Days turned into weeks, and life at the academy resumed its usual rhythm. Ethan buried himself in data analysis, poring over every detail they had collected during their mission. Olivia spent hours writing reports, determined to ensure that their findings would be preserved for future generations. Ryan, ever the restless adventurer, began planning his next field study project, already dreaming of distant worlds waiting to be explored. But Mia couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to learn, more to understand about the planet that had captivated her so deeply. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the campus, Mia found herself wandering toward the observatory. It was her favorite place on Lumina Prime, a quiet dome-shaped building perched on a hill overlooking the city. Inside, rows of telescopes pointed skyward, each one focused on a different corner of the galaxy. She climbed the spiral staircase to the upper level, where a massive telescope stood aimed at Earth's sector of space. She peered through the lens, adjusting the focus until the faint blue-green orb came into view. From this distance it looked peaceful, just another speck among countless others. Yet she knew better. Beneath its serene exterior lay untold stories of survival, adaptation, and resilience. As she gazed at the distant planet, memories of their journey flooded back. The crackling fire of the volcano, the eerie silence of the abandoned settlement, the glowing eyes of wolves in the forest. And Alex. Always Alex, with his bright smile and boundless curiosity. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps behind her. Turning, she saw Professor Lorne approaching, his tall frame silhouetted against the fading light. He was an elder member of the faculty, known for his wisdom and patience. His presence always brought a sense of calm, even in moments of uncertainty. "Still thinking about Earth?" he asked, his voice gentle. Mia nodded, stepping aside to let him look through the telescope. "Yes. I can't stop wondering if we missed something important, if there's more to Earth's story than we realized." Professor Lorne studied the image of the planet for a moment before speaking. "Earth is a paradox, isn't it? Dangerous yet beautiful, hostile yet nurturing. It challenges everything we think we know about survival." "That's exactly it," Mia said, her words tumbling out faster now. "We learned so much about why Earth is called a death world, the evolutionary warfare, the adaptability of its creatures, but I feel like we barely scratched the surface of humanity's role in all of this. They're part of the system, but they're also something else, something unique." Professor Lorne smiled faintly. "You're not alone in feeling that way. Many civilizations have tried to understand humanity, but none have succeeded completely. Humans are unpredictable, driven by emotions and instincts that defy logic. That unpredictability is both their greatest strength and their biggest mystery. Mia frowned, considering his words. Do you think we'll ever fully understand them? He chuckled softly. Perhaps not in our lifetime, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Every piece of knowledge brings us closer to understanding, not just Earth, but ourselves as well. Encouraged by his words, Mia decided to revisit their research, hoping to uncover new insights. Over the next few days, she pored over their notes, revisiting recordings of their conversations with Alex, and analyzing images of the cave carvings. She noticed patterns she hadn't seen before, subtle details that hinted at deeper layers of meaning. One night, while reviewing footage of the volcanic valley, she spotted something unusual, a faint shimmer near the base of the mountain. Adieu. First, she thought it might be a trick of the light, but upon closer inspection, she realized it wasn't natural. The shimmer pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Intrigued, she flagged the discovery for Ethan and Olivia. The next morning, the team gathered in the lab to examine the anomaly. Ethan enhanced the image using advanced software, revealing a structure partially buried beneath layers of ash and rock. It appeared artificial, too symmetrical to be a natural formation. This could be significant, Ethan said, excitement creeping into his voice. If it's man-made, or even alien-made, it might hold clues about Earth's history that we overlooked. Olivia leaned forward, studying the image intently. Could it be connected to the invaders mentioned in the cave carvings? Maybe remnants of their technology survived. Ryan grinned, rubbing his hands together. Looks like we're going back. Mia hesitated, her mind racing. Returning to Earth meant risking exposure to its dangers once again. But the possibility of finding answers outweighed her fears. We need to be careful, she said finally. This could be our chance to complete the story. The team prepared quickly, knowing time was of the essence. Their second trip to Earth was shorter and more focused than the first. They landed near the volcanic valley, cloaking their ship to avoid detection. As they approached the shimmering structure, the ground beneath their feet grew hotter, radiating heat from the nearby lava flows. What is this place? Ryan muttered, shielding his face from the intense glare. Ethan scanned the area, his device, buzzing softly. It's some kind of energy field. Whatever's inside, it's still active. They worked together to clear away debris, revealing a metallic door embedded in the mountainside. Symbols etched into its surface matched those from the cave carvings, confirming their suspicions. This was linked to the ancient invaders. After several attempts, they managed to open the door, revealing a dark passageway leading deep underground. The air inside was cool and stale, carrying the faint scent of ozone. Lights flickered along the walls, illuminating a series of chambers filled with strange machinery. Mia touched one of the devices cautiously, marveling at its intricate design. This must have been part of their terraforming equipment, she whispered. But why leave it here? Olivia examined a control panel, deciphering fragments of text displayed on a cracked screen. It looks like they abandoned it when they fled. Maybe they thought it was useless without their ships. As they explored further, they discovered logs stored within the system, records of the invaders' failed attempt to conquer Earth. The documents described how the planet's ecosystems had retaliated, evolving rapidly to resist the invaders' changes. In the end, the invaders had no choice but to retreat, leaving behind their tools and hopes of domination. This explains so much, Ethan said, awestruck. The carvings, the adaptations, it all ties together. Mia nodded, her heart pounding with realization. Earth didn't just survive, it fought back, and it won. Their discovery confirmed what they had suspected all along. Earth's reputation as a death world wasn't just about danger, it was about triumph. Humanity, and every other form of life on the planet, was a product of that victory, shaped by millennia of struggle and perseverance. When they returned to Lumina Prime, they updated their report, adding the new evidence to their findings. This time, their presentation sparked debates across the Academy, challenging long-held assumptions about planetary colonization and survival. For Mia, the journey had come full circle. She finally understood what had drawn her to Earth in the first place: its spirit. A spirit defined not by fear or destruction, but by hope and resilience. And as she looked up at the stars, she knew that Earth's story, one of courage, adaptation, and triumph, would continue to inspire explorers for generations to come.